So I've been hiking in Little-Laurel Ridge Park for years, and I thought it would be a nice subject for a video. First thing we'll do is take a little drone ride over the park. So we're going to take off here now from the end of Tibbetts Road. The park includes an overlook that has a beautiful view of the Housatonic River and the hills to the north. And we're going to be heading west right now. Those hills in the distance are actually on the other side of the Housatonic River in the town of Shelton. Okay, we're taking a little view down, snow on the ground. It's only about a half mile to the ridge that the overlook is on, and then we'll be flying north a little bit to the overlook, which is actually about 0.8 of a mile walk to the overlook from Tibbetts Road. We're flying over here now, and we are getting to see the Housatonic River down in the distance down below there. And we are just getting ready to fly over. You can't see them too well, the marble caves and that little bit of a ridge you see down below, if you can notice it. And as we come down into this little valley here, and then you have the ridge that the overlook is on. When we're looking down below now, that's the Housatonic River. To the west, as I said, is Shelton. When we fly over there, just down directly below us, there's a building there now. There used to be an Actors Colony Inn, which was a very well-known place for New York musicians and actors to actually come up and play. And I believe Frank Sinatra might have played here, Judy Garland and other people back in the 40s and maybe into the 50s. And here now we're starting to head north, and this is the ridge that the overlook is on. It's following the Hudson River here, the Housatonic River. And as we're coming up, we're going to look down a little bit here, and we're getting close to the overlook. And we'll get a better view of the overlook. I'm just looking down here. I'm not sure why I did that. And that's the overlook in the distance to the left. The white patch over there is where all the snow is. There is the actual overlook. Here we're looking north on the Housatonic River. Again, that's Shelton to the west, and we're going to a little circle around here now, a little 360 degree, and we'll see where this goes. And this is all Shelton over there. Again, down below you see the highway. On this side of the river is Route 34. That's a major north-south two-lane road. Goes all the way up to Newtown, through Monroe into Newtown, and across the Stevenson Dam. And here we are north again. We're on the Blue Trail right now. The Blue Trail is a little confusing because it does a circular route. Anyway, the Blue Trail, in order to get to the overlook, it could be confusing because there's no direct route to the overlook. The Blue Trail does go to it, but it goes elsewhere. So someone else marked a trail with a yellow cross, and we'll pick it up down here. And it's the yellow cross trail just goes straight to the overlook. You see around here, this is on the top of a hill. We're about a little over 500 feet elevation here. It's not really high, even for Connecticut, but we're only about maybe 15 miles from the coast, Long Island. Branches. I saw a deer here one time. I was walking. There was a little path down to the south a little bit, and it didn't see me. It didn't see that I saw it because I saw it out of the corner of my eye. It was a nice buck, at least 8 points, a good sized buck, a few years old. And it's sort of like I glanced over to my right and it was standing about 50 feet from me, perfectly still, hoping I would have noticed it, in which I almost didn't, but I didn't let on that I did, so it just sort of stayed there as I walked by. There's no hunting in this little forest here. This is a town park. Okay, that little trail there will go down to the caves, and maybe we'll walk down to that afterward. But we'll stay on this main trail, which stays sort of on this top, the end of this ridge here.
If you went straight down that way toward that trail, you can get to the overlook as in a more direct route, but you'd have to climb down into the valley and then back up out of the valley, and it could be pretty steep. So instead of doing that, we're going to stay on this tow road, which is a lot easier to walk. And while there's some inclines and declines, you might even call them hills, it's not anything especially steep. I've run into hikers here. I remember a young couple, they couldn't find the overlook. They were actually walking back after being disappointed. So I told them I was going that way, so they followed me to the overlook, and they were happy about that. Here's some mushrooms. They look a little bit like turkey tail, but not really. Turkey tail is good. Now this, you could probably also use this here to make a tisane, like a tea, but they're not turkey tails. Turkey tails look a little this, but more like they're darker with gray and a little bit of red multicolors, and they actually looks like a turkey tail. I have found some decent mushrooms around here in the past. More. And we're actually walking by a little pit here, I guess a mine where they were mining the marble. There's still some marble, I think you can see there over there to the left. Some pieces, they didn't get to get everything out. And it goes up, so it's about maybe 75 feet long. That was worth taking. And they brought it right over to here, to the kiln, the lime kiln. And it had to be, I believe it was a farmer, a local farmer, who I guess who owned the farm at the time. This is about over 200 years ago, or about 200 years ago in the early 19th century. And they cut the marble into chunks, pretty small chunks, I think, maybe fist size, whatever. And they laid it inside this kiln, which was just made out of rock. It's not mortared or anything. This is it right here. I'll have to come back when there's no snow on it. And if you see right here, this is the entrance to the kiln. And up on top, I can get up there. Up on top, it's open. Here we are at the lime kiln in Little-Laurel Ridge Park in Seymour, Connecticut. It's on the western side of the town, overlooking the Housatonic River, which forms part of the western border of the town of Seymour. What we're doing is we're walking through the woods here. We went to an overlook, and I'm showing you that. You might have seen that already, where you can look over the Housatonic River, and there's a nice place there where we have picnics and good weather. Not today, it's about 30 degrees out, and it's actually getting a little chillier now in the middle of February. This here is the actual lime kiln, and it was built probably sometime in the late 18th or early 19th century, say in the early 1800s. And the purpose of it was to take marble, which we probably already saw the marble pits. They cut marble out of the rocks, and they chipped them into smaller pieces, and they would put them in a lime kiln with a lot of wood, probably layering it, wood, marble, and then they would burn it and basically cook the lime, or cook the marble for maybe about 6 days or so. And then they would take then the lime would basically turn into powder. The marble would turn into lime powder, and they would use the powder, the farmers, for fertilizer, to fertilize for crops. They could also use it as mortar to make houses and so forth, or chimneys, I believe. And they could also use it, they might have sold it to the iron foundries up to the north, because for a while Connecticut was actually the center of the iron industry in the United States. And there were some big iron mines up in the north of Salisbury, up in that area. And you can still actually visit those old iron foundries. So what they did was, and again, this had to be a local farmer, because there's no mortar on it. Just the rocks are just placed like stone walls. And this is the entrance here, but then the rest of the pit is pretty much circular, and there's a hole up on top, it's hollow, where they'll put the marble and the wood, and then they would fire it up and let it cook for, again, like I said, about a week or so. And it's a little overgrown now. There's some trees growing on it, but it's a pretty rugged kiln. It was used for a certain period of time, and I have a feeling maybe there were commercial lime pits around the country, and it was probably cheaper and easier to buy the lime instead of making your own. And that's probably what killed this kiln and other kilns around here. So it's a little bit of history of Connecticut. The first time I saw this, I didn't know it was a kiln. And I was looking at it, and I was reading these books about early America, the continent, and how the Vikings might have come down here, and they might have built structures, houses, and so forth in southern New England. I don't know about Connecticut. And I was thinking, well, maybe this is an old Viking house, but no, it is definitely a lime kiln. I was able to see it. You can still see it in good weather. There's still some black soot and so forth up near the top, and wouldn't make a very good house. We're over by the, I call them limestone cliffs or caves. So we always call them, maybe if somebody says they're marble, they may be marble limestone. They were made by little shelled animals about anywhere in 300 to 500 million years ago, probably more like 500 million years ago, in what's called the Iapetus Ocean, I believe at the time. This is before the Atlantic Ocean was formed, and this is before the North American plate collided with the African and European plate to create Pangea, Pangea. That was about 500 million years ago or so, in what they called the Cambrian times, when in the seas there were shelled animals. I don't know if there were fish yet, may not have been fish yet. And the dinosaurs were 250 to 300 million years into the future. And that's where this marble or limestone came from. You see the layers down over here and the layers over there. And the caves, which you can crawl into. I might try to link to a video that was on television where one of these exploring people actually went into the caves a ways down there, but they're very narrow, and you have to probably back out of them. I don't know if you can turn around, do a U-turn. Right now it's in February, and there's a good chance that there may be a couple of bears hibernating in those caves, so I'm not going to bother them for sure. And let me just swing this around so you can see. Let me see if you can see these caves down over here. You see those caves over there as we swing around. Okay, right in the middle of view there's another cave, and over to right in the middle of view again there's another cave. They're probably all linked. The caves are actually created by water seeping through over millions of years and dissolving the limestone and the marble, and then you get the caves. That's, I see 1, 2, 3, 4 major entrances. How they all work out, I don't know, and I'm not going to bother trying to find out. And over to the right here, if you can see that, let me see if I can come up close. I guess I can't. Yeah. If you look down over on the corner, sort of that marble there, you see that straight line going up and down. That was actually made by a drilling down into the marble in order to put some explosive down there and blow that out. And so they could use that in order to make lime over in that kiln that we see probably earlier in the video. Okay, it's a big limestone cave here, or marble cave, I guess it is. It's one of the caves that are where the marble has been dissolved quite a bit. The top layers of the marble here. That's marble right there on both sides. Looks like it's at least a 3-foot thick layer of marble in this area. It doesn't seem like they used this here to mine, but they might have. The last little climb up to the top of the ridge. Oh. A lot of ice here, I have to be careful. I feel like falling. I'm a mile from nobody. Don't want to have an accident around here. Hey, here we go. Okay, some bedrock right here. You see it's a lot of granite with marble interspersed in there. Hey, I'm gonna go over here. This is here, we're looking north on the east side of the river, which is to the right. You have Oxford. Well, I'm in Seymour, but Oxford is maybe about 300 yards north here. That building to the right on the river is an old restaurant, which is closed now. It used to be a good restaurant. I don't know what happened, but that's in Oxford. And further up, a few miles up, maybe about 3 or 4 miles up, is the Stevenson Dam, which holds Lake Zor. A nice lake where, when I was a kid, we had a boat. We used to water ski up there. We used to picnic up there. It was nice. West over here, this is Shelton on the other side of the river. It goes all the way down to the confluence of the Housatonic and Naugatuck rivers. Shelton does, and goes further south, all on the west side of the river. When the confluence remains the Housatonic River, the Naugatuck River is the tributary. The Naugatuck River goes through the middle of Seymour, north and south, coming all the way up from Torrington, where I believe where it begins. Okay, so it's pretty. Nice view. Nice picnic area in the summertime, spring even. When the weather's a little nice. It's kind of cold right now. It's only around 30 degrees. It's not very dangerous here. They're not really much of a cliff face. I mean, it does drop very steeply. It gets down below there. There's a bit of a cliff. I've never gone down there. Not that I'm afraid of heights especially, but I just don't want to fall. And there's nothing to see down there. It's just a steep drop. But you'll see I did a video where I started from that restaurant, and I took the drone right up to here. So that should be pretty cool when you see it. All right. Now this area is actually pretty big, so there's plenty of room for people to picnic or do different things here. There's a couple of glacial erratics. Now these are all covered with lichen. I do a little painting, and when I paint wood scenes, I put green and red and a little orange into the colors. And I had an artist say to me, "Why do you make your rocks green?" I said, "Well, you haven't been in the woods for a while, because around here there's a lot of green on the rocks. Those are just leaves, and they look green from a distance, don't they? A light green. Plus, I use artistic license. I put any colors I want into it." So there's some nice views wherever you go here. There's a rabbit. There's a deer trail right here. And you have more of the river, of course. Not as good a view. The nicest view is where I showed you.
So here we are taking off from that old restaurant on Route 34 and the Housatonic River, and here we're going to be heading south. And this is the first time I've risked going over water with my drone. It's a DJI Mini 2. It's a nice drone, but if it falls into the water, that's it. I'll have to get another one. But okay, now I'm heading south, and it's kind of nice. And we're just passing the entry to Squantuck Road, or Route 188, which goes east into Seymour. And that's the overlook way up above there, straight ahead, with snow on it. So after that brief musical interlude, we're up on top of the overlook, and you can look around. There's some pretty interesting sights from up here, as I've shown you before, and we'll go a little bit higher, and we're going to do a 360-degree circle around again, just to sort of show the geography of the area around here. Alright, now for a completely superfluous part of this video. I'm going to fly the drone back down to the restaurant because it's just a cool thing to do. I like it. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. It's my second one for YouTube. Actually, it's my second video period, so it's still a little rough. I'll be improving my style, I think, in the future. And please subscribe to the channel. And I have about 3 other projects in the works, and I hope to be doing about 1 a week. I'm going to have to get busy then. So take care.